Eerder dit jaar heeft Codemasters Grid 2 aangekondigd. Ik zit hier met twee ontwikkelaars van Codemasters. Well, first of all, could you introduce yourself?
I'm Ian Smith. I'm associate producer on Grid 2.
Hi, I'm Gahan Patharaja. I'm the lead car handling designer in Codemasters.
Well, Grid 1 released 4 years ago. Why did it take so long?
I guess like with a game like Grid 1 where it made such a sort of impact on the racing genre, we just wanted to do the first game justice. So I think when we sort of made our plans for what we wanted to do with Grid 2, the ambitions, the things that we definitely wanted to have in the Grid 2 game, our sort of ambition was almost like too much for us to achieve at that particular time. So it was sort of outstripping what the technology could do, and you know we wanted to give it the time and effort to get to that point where we can now sort of do the first game justice.
Okay. Well, I played a bit and drove around in some woods, and then on the circuit looked like Chicago.
Yeah.
What kind of race types can we expect? Because in the first game you had drifting, and on circuits, an open wheel. What can we see in the game?
So yeah, I mean we're not actually revealing the details of the race modes at this particular point, but just in terms of the stuff that's in there, there will be drift racing in there. There will also be, as you say, open wheel circuit racing. So we've already revealed that Yas Marina is in the game, but we've also got Red Bull Ring, which you'll be able to see if you're at the developer sessions on Saturday as well. There are a number of other circuits in the game that we've not revealed the names of at this particular point. But we're catering to various different areas of the sort of motorsports world. So there will be the sort of grip driving stuff, open wheel, sort of more motorsports based, and then there's the sort of more edgy street racing type of stuff. And then the other demo that's actually out on the show floor today is California Coast, which is more a sort of gumball inspired point-to-point type of racing where there's less sort of barriers and there's less sort of race set dressing and crowd. It's just you in the road, and you know there's much more risk involved, and you know you've got a cliff face to your left, and then you know a sheer drop into the sea on the right, and you know you have to just stay absolutely on the edge of control.
In the first game you could well join a team, and then eventually you could create your own racing team with own liveries and stuff. Are we going to see that in the sequel?
So in Grid 2, a big part of what we're doing is about personalization. So in the single player experience, you're going to progress through the game. How you decide to progress is sort of left up to the player. Some of the choices that you have to make are down to the player. I mean, you have a finite goal, you know where you're heading to, and you are striving to be that sort of the greatest driver, but how you get there is sort of a thing that we're giving you choices and ways to approach. And one of those things is that the cars in the game are broken into several tiers. So there's tiers 1 to 5. So if you start getting to events where you know predominantly there are tier 2 cars in those events, what we're letting the player make choices about is the likes of, you know, are they going to save up all their money and buy a tier 2 car, or are they going to modify their sort of favorite car from tier 1 and bring that up to the standard that can compete with tier 2, so making modifications on the car itself. And we actually carry that through to the online space as well. So there's those sort of modifications and the way that you spend your money and level up. But actually, to go back to your question a little bit, we're also allowing the players to sort of choose the liveries for their cars. Like if you have a garage full of cars, you can you know, paint them all the same way so that you have the same sort of style of livery on all of them, or you can choose to make every car unique and slightly different.
Is there any storyline involved, like any other games?
That's something we can't really reveal at this stage either. I mean, you appreciate that a lot of the games at the Expo are actually almost on release. We're at pre-alpha stage, so we have some very cool plans for what we're going to do with the single-player experience, the way that we pull the players through it, that sort of narrative, the player progression sort of feel, the player's journey. We have big plans for it, but we're not going to reveal it for a couple of months. Okay. So stay tuned on that.
Too bad. Okay. Damage was a big thing in Grid, like in all the other Codemasters games. Well, in the demo I saw it a little bit, but not as much. What can we expect about that?
So the damage in Grid 2, we really think we've improved it loads. For the demonstration, we've turned it to a visual-only mode, so you won't actually feel the mechanical effects when you're damaged. And as Ian said before, the game is in pre-alpha stage, so some things are still in development.
Well, in the sequel, what are the greatest improvements in comparison to the first one?
Okay, so I'll start off first of all.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest improvements for Grid 2 over Grid 1 has got to be the handling and the feel of the game. And that's what you can try out on the shop floor today. You can get on there, you can try it out on a steering wheel or on a pad. If you're lucky enough, if you can get past the queue, you can get on the Versario D-Box as well.
It, so.
Oh, you've had a go. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and what you'll find out is that if you're the force feedback on something like a pad and a wheel has been, really thought about this time. You can really feel for the edge of grip on both devices. So the rumble will start to build up and feel different as you lean into the tyres in a slide. So you know when to back off, how to maintain that balance of the car in that situation. And that's just on a pad. On a steering wheel, you can really feel exactly for what sort of steering angle you need based on the force feedback. So you can feel for the direction of the grip into the slide and how much force you need to give in order to recover it as well.
Like I said, the customization and the player personality aspect is something that's really important to us. But the cool thing with the multiplayer with Grid 2 is that, unlike Grid 1, where the multiplayer blended together, we're specifically breaking the single player experience and the multiplayer experience into two different aspects of the game. Okay. So your progression in the single player experience as a driver is completely separate and unique from what you do in the online space. So when you go online, like I said, in the goal in the single player experience is clear. You know where you have to get to. In the multiplayer experience, it's infinite. Really, you can take it as far as you want to go, and we continue to test you against players of your level as you progress through. It's similar to the single player experience in that the choices are up to you about when you want to level up, when you want to use your money, how you want to use your money on various aspects you can personalize. And the unique thing that we didn't have in Grid 1, which we have for Grid 2, is that now we have support from the RaceNet service, which is essentially a single sign-on identity for you, and it's a profile that you can carry across all of the Codemasters racing titles. So the benefit for us for that is that we can provide challenges, experiences, and things that can actually go between not just Grid 2 but Race Stars, Formula 1 2012, Dirt Showdown as well, and all of the games that we'll be creating in future. We'll just incrementally add new features as we go along, and it will constantly develop.